Can your point of sale system handle a busy night crowd? If you have a point of sale system and you cannot hold an order to a table and wait for the guests to finish whatever they are doing before they can make payment, then you've got it all wrong. If you're using a SambaPOS and you're struggling to create a table for your SambaPOS, or you want to expand the already tables you have in your SambaPOS, I've got you covered in this video. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to create tables and how to even batch create tables. That's to create more than one table in less than 1 minute. So let's get straight into the video. So we're on the SambaPOS dashboard, and if I should click on my POS, you see that I don't have a table. So we're going to click on create a table now for my point of sales. So if I should click on manage, I click on entity. So whether you're using SambaPOS 4 or SambaPOS 5, either ways, it's the same format. It's just very few differences, but it's the same way in which you can use in creating your tables. So I have my entity type. So by default, the table is already, when you install the Samba, the tables are already there for you by default. So you don't need to create this. Now, this is where we need to create the entities. We have the entities and we need to create a screen. So before we create the screen, we need to create a table. So I'm going to create one table now. Let's just show you how to create one table first. So the entity name is going to be table, and I'm going to call this table 1. Let's say table 1. Then my warehouse, I only have one warehouse, so it's not really necessary. And for the account, I don't have multiple accounts on this SambaPOS. Maybe later on, I'm going to show you how to create more warehouses and whatnot. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to stop at the tables and the name of the table, and you click save. So with that, we have successfully, if I should click on the entities, you will see that we have successfully created one table. So you can either do this one or you can batch create. So I'm just going to do this first, then show you how we can batch create later. So now I go to my entity screen. I need to create tables. So what do? I click on add entity screen. Then I'm going to call this table. Tables. The bottom header optional, but I can still call it tables. Now the ticket type. If you have multiple tickets, you can choose which ticket you want to, and you can also assign a particular ticket to a particular table, but in this case I'm just leaving it all neutral. The view, it should be automatic. Then the appearance, what color do you want it? If you want it white, if you want it green, if you want it whatever color you want it, but in my case I'm just going to leave it as a white background. Then the column count, if I leave it 0, it just automatically merge with the table. So I'm just going to leave it 0 for now. Then later we are going to add more tables, so I'm going to leave this at 0. If you want it to be in columns of 5, 1 2 3 4 5, it has 5 and keeps going. That if you want it to be in columns of 10, that can be done, but if you leave it on 0, it just move with the screen that you have currently. Then the entity type, I'm just going to use tables. Then the display status and display type, we're going to leave it as status, and without a space after the status. And I click on select entity. So because I have created a table, if I click on this table, it's here. I push it into the selected table and it has gone there. Now it's saying that my table is going to show on my screen. If you skip this part, it's not going to show on your point of sales screen. Then for the details, if you want to customize your template, that can be done here. I'm skipping that part. Then we click on mapping. We cut the mapping, and the most important thing here is that the visibility should be on all. If you have different terminals, that can be done here. If you want particular rows to see the tables, that can be here. So all these things have department ticket types on your system, but in this case I just want everybody to be able to have access to the table, and which is why we have star. So anyway you see star in SambaPOS, it means it is open to all rows or all access. Then I click on save. But the moment I click on save and I go back to my point of sale, you see that I have custom search, customer tickets, and I have my tables. So my tables is showing table 1, and I can as well bring this table from this side into this other side. So now we have done that. Let's now batch create multiple tables. I click on my manage, I click on my entity, I click on my entities, then I click on batch create entity. You click on batch create entity. This is the format. You put a hash, and the title your your tables, I click exactly, it should be exactly the way it's written there. So I'm going to use tables. Then since I already have table 1, I can come here and do my table 2. So I'm creating table 2 to table 15, and once I do that, I click on OK. So the moment I click on OK, automatically I have created that. So I go to my entity screen, I double click on my tables. Now in this appearance, since I want it to be 15 tables, I want it to be 3, 3, 3, meaning I want 5. So I can come to this column and I put 3. Then I come to my entity screen, click on my selected entity, and I can now move at will. So I'm just going to highlight 2 to 10, 2 to 9, and 10 to 15. You can move this one or move this multiple in groups. Then I click on OK, and that has been done. And I click on save. Basically, that's it. But now I want my table to be at the first thing on the point of sale. So I click on sort entity screen, and I move my table from the bottom to the top. You click on it and you drag. You click on it and you drag. So it's going to be at the top, and I click on OK. Then let's see our screen. So if I click here, I'm seeing my tables because I use 3 columns. You have table 1 to table 15. So I can now hold order. So once if I should click on an order I want to take, and I click on close, it changes the color to tell you that I'm actually holding an order. Now, let's say I want to give the person a bill. They want to know how much they're paying, and I create a print bill. The color automatically changes. So you can play around with these colors, and later on I'm going to teach you how to change these colors, or how these colors looks like, and even you can even add things to these colors to know who actually took that order. So this can be customized in ways beyond the imagination. Think of it and somebody will give it to you. This is the end of the video. If you have any other question, please let me know. Apart from that, see you soon.